Okay, I've got one for you.
Okay.
How to talk to your child about bad behavior.
Oh, that's going to come up. Obviously, we're going to start the same place that we always do. Your own attitude, really.
Oh, yeah.
Probably
definitely.
the most important thing here. We've got a behavior problem with the child.
Mm-hmm. So how are we going to respond to it, right?
Check in first with where you are with this. Well, first of all, kids misbehave. If you haven't figured that out yet, you must be a brand new parent. Kids misbehave. It's part of being a kid. It's what they do. And in that light, Vicky, it's not even really misbehavior. It's childhood. It's what they do. When we can approach it that way, it helps us to chill a little bit. To calm down so that we're not reacting so
and that's the big
strongly
thing.
to
Now,
everything.
the behavior definitely might need to be modified, shaped, changed because of safety or outcomes that are going to be really negative and damaging to the child. The first place is to look at our own attitude, get real about that so that you can then approach your child in a way that is more positive, more constructive, and is going to bring about better responses.
Right. Earlier, we did a video with Nicolene Peck.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
She shared something with me. This was actually years ago, before we ever did the video here on the channel, that has stuck with me all these years, and it's to maintain a calm voice, a calm face, and a calm body. Think about all three of those for a minute. Mm-hmm. Calm voice, calm face, calm body. This is what we want to model for our kids.
Right.
And you're much more influential as a parent when you come at it with a calm voice, calm face, and a calm body, because you're not triggering the fight or flight response in your kids.
In your child, right. Remember, kind of going back to things we said before, every interaction with your child, you're inviting them to either think or fight. And so if you come at it with a calm voice, calm body, you're going to be inviting them to think.
Remember, we're dealing with misbehavior here, right? Bad behavior. It's something that we want to shape and change. So the last thing we want to do is model out of control, freakish, psycho mom. You want to come at it with that calm voice, calm face, calm body, and then that's going to help you to have the conversation with your child.
One of the next tips that we were thinking about kind of goes back to a movie I watched a long time ago called Raising Helen. It had Joan Cusack and Kate Hudson in it, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a situation where this boy and girl they've gone to a hotel on a prom night or something like that. Anyway, and
bad behavior.
Joan Cusack and she rushes into the hotel room and gets the niece out of there. She's the aunt. She's the aunt. But she is kind of like a very practiced mother and seen as the perfect mother, right, or whatever. So she runs in and she takes care of the situation, gets the girl out of there and stuff, and she kind of lets the guy have it, the kid, the teenage boy, and she goes to leave, but she turns around and says, "This is very bad behavior. You're not a bad kid, but this is very bad behavior," or something to that effect.
You're not a bad person,
but this is bad behavior. And I just thought that was so funny. But there's so much in just that little, there's a nugget in there.
Oh.
Super important nugget.
A valuable nugget, because what we're doing is separating the child
from the behavior.
Their person, their character, from the behavior, which is the problem.
Yeah, and I think we need to, some of the triggers that we really want to watch out for are things like you are, you always, those types of things, because that is casting who they are, their personality. It's talking about them. It's labeling them.
And so instead of you were really bad this afternoon, it's you did this afternoon, and that was inappropriate.
It broke our family rules, blah, 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 blah.
Separate the person from the behavior.
One of my favorite people that kind of really talks a lot about this, it kind of goes into the difference between shame and guilt, is Brené Brown. Yeah. And when we use these words like the you are, you bring on a real feeling of shame versus guilt. It's good for them. It's good for us to feel guilt for inappropriate behavior. It's okay.
Appropriate guilt for inappropriate behavior.
Right. But shame is another thing, because that takes on the persona of, oh, I'm terrible. So we really want to, look into that and become aware of that we're encouraging our child to separate the behavior, or encouraging ourselves really to separate the behavior from the child as himself or herself.
Again, the wording is huge. Mm-hmm. Instead of you are, you did. Mm-hmm. Okay? Do you hear the difference there? Mm-hmm. Focus on the behavior, because that's where the problem is. Your child is not the problem.
And can I just say really quick and add that it's not only helping the child, because when they hear the you are, it's going to change their kind of self-awareness or their self-concept,
how they,
right?
Yeah.
But the words are also, I think it changes how you see them. Also, you start saying you are, and it just changes things,
Can I share a powerful thing that I learned about that? Ron Zeller is a world-class leadership expert and trainer. He passed away a few years ago, mm-hmm. but I had Ron on my podcast, and he taught me something about naming. Mm-hmm. Because what we name something determines our own behavior toward that thing.
Right.
And the example he used, he said, like Adam in the Garden of Eden, and his job is to name all the animals. Well, he saw a horse, and he named it Jumping Theme, Leaping Creature. I don't know. Ron was pretty old. Maybe he was there. But anyway, I still didn't get it. And Ron said he didn't name it Lunch. And then it kicked in. What do you do with lunch?
Yeah.
You eat it.
Right.
What do you do with a jumping thing, a leaping creature? Maybe you marvel at it, you watch it, you get on and ride around a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What you name something determines your own behavior toward that thing.
Mm-hmm. So we want to be really careful not to label our children their bad behavior.
We had an example with this in our own family. And this is a little bit of self-disclosure, but one of our children, we had named him, he likes to push the limits. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that?
Or he drives me crazy.
And that's, you'd think, that's not a name. Well, yeah, it was. And that's how we were interacting with him. When I learned this thing from Ron, I made an intentional effort to rename my son, I trust you to make good decisions for you. Mm-hmm. Whole different name.
Yeah.
And the point is, it changed how I showed up with him. That's the power of naming.
Paul, in my work, a lot of what I do in working with children is trying to help them understand how they influence the world around them, people around them, and things.
Yes.
And that's one of the important things with bad behavior, is helping the child, your own child, to see how their behavior is impacting those around them.
This is something that we call empathy.
Right.
Really, it's understanding and caring how other people feel. And it's really a part of moral development.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When we gain empathy, we're operating at a much higher level of moral development. So in talking with your child about the bad behavior, we're separating the child from the behavior so that they're not owning that they're a bad person. It's just bad behavior, like from the movie.
You got to go watch that.
Right? Yeah. That's a good example of that. And then we want to connect them. You know what? I'm working with a mom and her daughter, where the daughter had some very bad behavior. Mm-hmm. Okay? After the fact, she realized what kind of an impact this had on her mother, who now needs to help her out in the juvenile correctional system. And there's
some different things.
It's an imposition on mom, and mom is worried about her, and she saw mom crying. Okay? And up until that point, this teenage daughter didn't realize that what she did had that profound of an impact on her mother.
Yeah, a lot of the times kids think, outside of me, no problem.
Yeah.
As long as I know how it's affecting me, especially teenagers get to that. It's just very myopic. So helping them see and look outwards at how their actions affect those around them. And this is a super important thing in this world when it comes to social skills. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things about social skills where if we just realize what our behavior how it is affecting those around us.
You're going to wonder sometimes, what's an appropriate consequence to give my child for this bad behavior? Here's one that you might try, especially with older children and teens. And they have to be at least on stage 2 to do this.
So that's the cooperating.
So, and you can go back and review teaching children responsibility if you want to review those 3 stages. Or if you have the parenting power up, it's all in there. If they're on stage 2, they're cooperating with you, and you can use this kind of a consequence. I want you to write an essay. Okay, now this is why it requires cooperation, okay? We handle stage 1 in a different way. I want you to write an essay that says what you did that violated our family rules or, that was wrong. What was the behavior? Who did it impact? And what were the ways that those people were impacted? Okay, this encourages and develops empathy. Now, they might just throw it back in your face and say, I'm not writing your stupid essay, right?
And now you're back on stage 1.
Well, that means they're on stage 1, so we're going to use a different kind of consequence. That's why I said you can do this with stage 2. Again, the idea is to encourage and reinforce empathy. What is the impact that my behavior has on the world around me, and especially on the people that I love? We've got a lot of videos for you on the Positive Parenting playlist. One that we've done on this very topic, how to correct a child's bad behavior with positive parenting. You can watch that one next and just continue your learning quest. We got your back.
I saw her standing in the street alone. Her head was down, face locked onto her phone.